Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are live. It's Monday night, so Monday Night Live is here, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know that all the technical stuff is working in the chat, please. I'm going to wait for a few more people to join us. In the meantime, please do let me know which city you're tuning in from in the chat. Hey, Oliver, welcome to Monday Night Live. First one to comment, always a very good sign. Hope everybody had a fantastic Christmas and New Year. If you didn't tune in last week to Monday Night Live, wishing you all the best for 2021. We had quite a brief session last week, talked about the plan for content marketing on LinkedIn in 2021, and I offered my planner template, which a lot of you downloaded, which helps you map out your strategy for 2021. So I hope that was helpful. Today, I am going to be sharing some insights and strategies for content marketing and specifically storytelling. The power that stories have to transform somebody's content is incredible. The main reason, well, there's plenty of reasons, and we're going to go through some of them, but one of the big ones is when you can connect emotionally with the person consuming your content. It's no different to when somebody's speaking from stage. If they share a story, if somebody can get you to have an emotional response to something, they're much more likely to remember what you told them. And so with content, being that it's on, the internet, we're not in front of them, and the attention span, everybody knows, is getting shorter and shorter. Getting people to remember your content is very important to success, because you could have thousands and thousands of views, but if nobody remembers it, they're not going to take action on it. We've got a hello here from Marshall. He's here. Don't be fooled. He's under my chair, chewing away at my chair. Bless him. So if you can hear a bit of gnawing, that's Marshall. All right, well, good to see some of you on the call. Drop in the chat, as I said, if you're just tuning in, and let us know where you're based, where you're tuning in from, what city you're tuning in from. And I'm going to share my computer screen with you so we can talk about storytelling. Okay, here we go. Just put that on mute. And I'll hide that. Okay, guys, let's get stuck into this short little Monday Night Live special on storytelling. Before I get cracking, I just wanted to make a special shout out to the software that I'm streaming live on. I'm using a platform called Restream, which allows you to go live on up to 30 social media platforms at once. And I just use it to go live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. But they've partnered with me and now sponsoring Monday Night Live. So I wanted to give them a special mention, being they're my new sponsorship partner. Restream are also involved in LinkedIn versus Instagram, which starts on the 11th of February with the first event being in Perth. It's going to be 4 events. As some of you may know, we did LinkedIn versus Instagram in 2019. We did a tour around Australia with Perth, Melbourne, and Sydney. Went very, very well. I did it teamed up with Brooke Valinovich, the Instagram expert. And we had a great time, and we've really just taken the tour to the next level with 2021. So if you haven't got your tickets already for Perth, which has just been gone on sale recently, early bird tickets are available. So go to that link there. You may want to take a quick photograph or something of that link there to go get your tickets for Perth, because they are selling quite fast. All right, now this lovely looking hat here. I'll give you a clue. Should I give you a clue? I'll give you a clue. This hat was worn by an Australian cricketer. That's the clue. What I would like the answers to in the comments is, how much do you think this hat sold for? How much do you think this hat sold for at a charity auction? And I'm going to let you know at the end of the presentation what the answer is. Whoever gets the closest answer to the value that it was sold for will get a prize. We'll work out what that prize is, but I'm going to give you something special. Okay, now this beautiful object is a ornament, horse's head. It was part of a study that was done in March 2011 called the Significant Object Study. Now, the Significant Object Study was basically designed to buy items off of eBay for around about $1 each, for $1 to $2 each. And then what they did is they bought 200 items for about $1 each. And then they got 200 authors to volunteer for this study. And each author would write one story about the object. And then they would put the objects back onto eBay and see how much they could sell for. So this particular horse's head, as an example, was bought for 99 cents. And it was resold for $62.95. Bought for 99 cents, and then an author wrote a story about it, and it was resold for $62.95. Just demonstrating the power, the economic and commercial power of stories. Now, you might ask yourself, well, there was 200 items. Surely, they can't all resell for, $62.95. And the verdict was 200 items were bought for $250 in the end, so a little bit over $1 each. And they were resold. All 200 items added up to $8,000, from $250 invested to $8,000. So if that doesn't show you the power of storytelling, then we'll show you a couple more examples. Here we go, $250, $8,000, told ya. All right, don't know if anybody's been to New York City before, but imagine there was a hot dog shop that there was a restaurant, a bar that was hidden behind, that did no advertising, that told people when they arrive at the bar, please don't tell anyone about this bar. And the only way you can get to the bar is if you go to the back of the hot dog shop and go into a phone booth and you just happen to have a reservation, which, there's no advertising for. And then there's a bar behind it hidden away. Do you think that bar would do very well? Well, Please Don't Tell in New York City is one of the most popular night spots in New York. Because the thing is, there's this thing called social currency. It's very hard for somebody to keep something like that a secret, Like imagine you were going to visit a friend in New York City and they're like, oh, there's this cool bar I know about. It's at the back of a hot dog shop. You've got to have a booking and you've got to go into the phone booth. And if you happen to have a booking, they'll let you in. Like it's quite a novelty. So what happened is the word of mouth marketing was just bananas on this particular concept. What a great idea. No advertising investment, packed every single night. Please Don't Tell in New York City. A great example of storytelling. Another example, I was watching Mr. James Bond several years ago, and I thought the guy was pretty impressive. He dressed nice, all the ladies liked him, he was fighting crime, he had this awesome, cool Amiga watch that he wore, and I was walking out of the cinema and I was walking through the shopping center, and there I saw it in the window of a watch shop. It was the same Amiga that James Bond was wearing. $15,000 later, I was a proud new owner of an Amiga watch. So the power of storytelling can translate to cinema, can't it? I wonder how much money is spent on product placement in Hollywood. $10.5 billion with a B dollars per year. Again, this is the power of storytelling, because what's happening is you're associating that product with an emotion that you felt. And so we should all be thinking about how can we get stories around our brand and our business so we can get people to identify with emotions within themselves and worldviews within themselves so that they remember our brands and want to be associated and want to tell their friends about our brand. And our content, with each piece of content, is no different. Let's look at neuroscience. I always like to look at neuroscience when it comes to marketing, because at the end of the day, like science is a reliable source to base like some of these strategies on. So stories activate parts in the brain that allow the listener to turn the story into their own ideas. So if you use things like metaphors, people can can draw their own conclusions, which just gives them a lot more freedom. Because if you use the wrong words or what have you, they may not get what you mean. But if they can draw their own conclusions, it always has a much more powerful effect. And if any of you listened to my content before, I'm a big believer in creating positive brain chemicals like dopamine when people experience, absorbing your content. And the interesting thing is, like, when people are looking through content, like, have you ever seen people scrolling, through their phone when they're on the train or sitting at a coffee shop? Quite often they don't look too happy. They're not there like giggling away, smiling all the time. So quite often what they're experiencing is cortisol, which is a stress chemical. Now, cortisol makes people intolerant, irritable, uncreative, critical. It makes their memory worse, and it makes them make bad decisions, and they get more stressed. It's a form of adrenaline. And so if you can get people in that state who are looking at your content to then go from feeling cortisol to then experiencing endorphins or oxytocin or dopamine, they are going to like you a lot. And they're going to want to engage with your content, and they're going to trust you more, because dopamine improves focus, motivation, memory. Oxytocin makes people more generous, and endorphins makes people more relaxed and creative. So all of these positive brain chemicals are great assets for your content. So mirroring as well. Listeners will also experience a similar brain activity to each other. But for example, when you tell a story, it activates more than just one part of your brain. It activates I think it's 7 parts of your brain, which obviously just gives you so much more engagement. The cortex activity, when processing facts, 2 areas of the brain are activated. A well-told story can engage many additional areas, including the motor cortex, sensory cortex, and frontal cortex. All right, that's enough brain science for one day. When I was younger, in high school, my friends, they used to go fishing a lot in Perth. And I didn't actually like fishing that much, so I used to go along so I could hang out with them. And I would chill out, hang out with my friends. When we were old enough, I'd have a couple beers, but I'd kind of just put the bait on there, throw it out, but I didn't really know what I was doing. Quite often the bait would fly off the hook as I threw it out. So the question I have is, was I fishing? And the answer is yes, I was fishing, but was I going to catch anything? Probably not, because I wasn't really giving the fish anything they wanted, especially if there was no bait on the hook. So my argument today is, when are we going to stop throwing crap out there so we can actually catch some fish? And I may not be talking about fishing at the moment. I may be talking about something else, possibly. How do you add value through content, you might ask? Well, there's 4 ways. Information, inspiration, entertainment, and education. These are the 4 ways that you can add value through content. And so with each of them, you want to be applying stories. This is a good slide as well to take a picture of. I'm going to jump in and just say hello to some people here. There's a lot of comments come through. Hey, Susan, thanks for joining us. Brad Russell, 450. Ooh, good guess. 45 grand. Okay. 250 grand. We've got some guesses on the cap that was worn by an Australian cricketer, how much it sold for. 450k, another 450k guess. 1.5 million. Ooh, that's a high prediction. Hey there, from a LinkedIn user. Oh, we got a legend in the house, ladies and gentlemen. PJ, you are most welcome, for my knowledge, brother. Okay, let's get back into it, guys. Marshall, don't chew the wire, please. We're trying to add value through content over here. Okay, so when it comes down to creating content and how do you it is important to create a decent volume of content. It's not just about quality, it's also about quantity. A lot of people who say to me, I want to start a business, but I don't have any good ideas. I say, well, have you got any bad ideas? And they say, well, and then normally their mind's blank. So normally, if they haven't got enough good ideas, I suggest that they go out and create some bad ideas. Because if you come up with 7 bad ideas, you might have 1 good idea. The same thing happens with content. But when you're actually creating all these ideas and you're posting, you're getting live market feedback. So while you're doing all of this, you're learning what your audience wants. And once you know what your audience wants, it becomes very easy for you to add value through content. To be honest, like, what my audience wants and what like PJ's audience wants, for example, and what Muhammad's audience wants is going to be completely different because we all have completely different audiences. And so the only way that you can really know, like with so much confidence that like what kind of post is going to get the most engagement is to test, and you have to be throwing stuff against the wall. Now, if a content piece performs badly, a lot of people ask me, do I delete it? What do I do? If a content piece performs badly and it hasn't got any engagement, no one's seeing it anyway. Well, not many people anyway. It doesn't matter at all. It really doesn't. I mean, maybe on like Instagram where you've got like a feed that people refer back to, maybe delete it there. But on LinkedIn, for example, like it's literally just disappearing in the news feed. So there's content that I post that doesn't get much engagement, but you probably don't see it because it hasn't got much engagement. It's not actually going to get that much visibility. So even though it's still there, if people want to dig, the content's probably not going to be in front of that many people. But when you do get an engaging piece of content, it will. So how do you create a lot of content without investing like a huge amount of time, especially like small businesses? Like we watch people like Gary Vaynerchuk. Let me know if you know who Gary Vaynerchuk is in the chat. Gary V is a social media marketing guru, and he created this thing called the content model. That's it. And what it is basically he creates this like pillar content, which could be like an interview or a keynote, some long form piece of content. And then from that, his team can create, say, 20 or 30 like 1 to 2 minute short videos, some images, some short captions from the talk or from the interview. So he can use like one keynote for his team to create, say, 100 pieces of content, for example. Now, Gary V's posting about 100 times a day on social media, and he has a team of about 23 people last time I heard the figure. So for some of us that are like running a business and trying to post content at the same time, it's not feasible for like we don't have 23 people in our team, and to do it all ourselves, we could very quickly like stop running our business effectively and like drop the ball on operations and sales and all our other areas because we're spending so much time on this content stuff, which is not really. So like you got to work within the resources, and I think an individual running a business can post every day quite easily. But even if like you start with say 2 or 3 times a week, you don't want to be getting into the habit of, because you only got to post 2-3 times a week, you got to think about it on the day. So you're going to post next week on Tuesday. On Tuesday, wake up, okay, it's post day. What am I going to create? What you want to do is go, okay, I'm posting 2 times a week, which is 8 times a month. And so over the next 3 months, I need 24 pieces of content. And so, but rather than and you haven't posted anything. So rather than going straight for it, you schedule an afternoon to create 24 pieces of content. And the way you do that is you just use the same strategy as Gary V. And if you're not doing a talk or you haven't got any long form content, or the best way to do it is literally just to do an interview. And you can interview yourself. Like when I get new clients, I interview them, and we got cameras on them. And so I ask them questions like, why did you start your business? What's the ideal client? Can you tell me about a situation where your client came to you to solve and you had to solve their problem? And what happened? How did you resolve it? What are you passionate about? Do you have a mentor? And I ask these questions, and then every answer is one piece of content. So I've got this interview, say 40 minutes long, and then it can be cut up into say 20 or 30 short 1 to 2 minute videos with subtitles, with the proper headlines, created quote images, and then after that afternoon, you've got 24 or 25 or however many pieces of content ready to go for the next 3 months. Then you start posting. So it's all scheduled in. So you've got Tuesday, Thursday, and you keep going. And then what you want to do is after another 4 weeks or so is schedule another afternoon in to create another 24 pieces of content for the following 3 months. And then maybe at that point you're like, well, do you know what? I could probably create content more regularly. Why don't I do 50 pieces of content in the coming month? Why don't I do some more? And every time you do that, you want to use the insights that you've got from your audience to make the content better. So if you've posted like 24 bits of content over the month, look at like which ones got the most comments. Look at which ones people liked the most. Look at which ones created sales revenue for you, and then create more content about that. And you'll do exceptionally well. Gary Vaynerchuk, like the content insights that he used to create more content is the reason that he's so successful at social media marketing, hands down. And because he's creating more content and he's posting more than anyone else, he's getting more feedback, so the content's getting better quicker. And that's really how social media marketing works in a nutshell. And of course, this is a great way for you to use storytelling, because you'll notice that the posts that you use storytelling in will always do the best. Always. And you just want to fine tune those stories so that you get them better and better, more succinct, and learn which stories work the best for your brand. Like try 10 different stories, try 20, try and find things in your life that are relatable, that you could relate to your business, everyday things. So, and everyone should have a story about like, why they do what they do, because if you tell people why you do what you do, they're more likely to trust you, because everyone's got this guard up. They walk around in fear, they're scared of risk, they think that somebody's going to try and sell them something. And so when you first like come across a new individual, a professional on LinkedIn, or you have a first meeting, they're kind of sussing out. They're like, is this guy a threat? Do I need to be concerned about this guy? Guy, is he here to take advantage of me? Or is he here to help me? So if you tell them why you do what you do, then it eliminates that assumption or that possible thought that could come in their head that you're just there to get their money. If you tell them why you do what you do. So for example, when I was a kid, my dad took like 75 flights a year. We were living in Hong Kong at the time, and I didn't see him as much as I'd like. I ended up going to boarding school. He was a very successful entrepreneur, but he used to travel around a lot, meeting clients, entertaining clients, so he could get new business. And I always thought to myself, there must be a better way to grow a business and to network. And then comes along social media while I'm at university, and I thought, here it is. The opportunity to network at scale internationally without leaving your family and catching 75 flights a year like my dad did. So the reason that I do what I do is to help families stay closer together, because I can empower businesses and influencers and salespeople to do all their networking on social media. And that's why I do what I do. And that's an example of a story that you can use. It may not be the best one, but that's my story and it's true. I think it helps if it's true. Think about how you could use that in your brand. All right. Who is the closest? 1,007,500. 1,007,500. Now, I just want to say to the guys that said around 400 or so, let me just check my notes here. I do have it here. Donald Bradman's was sold for 450,000. So you're not incorrect. It's just a Shane Ward sold for a bit more. So I think the guys who said 450 are going to get something. Anyone say 1 million? Who was closest? Let's see if we can work this out. Well, it's 1.5. It might be the closest, mightn't it? Amelia nailed it with their aggressive estimate. I'll send you guys a private message. I think most of you on LinkedIn with what I'm going to give you as your prize. Lorraine, good to see you. Important for a boy to have their dad around. Great story. Yeah, I should say, by the way, my dad is awesome. I got an awesome father. I don't want to put him in a bad light. We had a really good childhood. Very fortunate. It's just something, I guess, like when you're like if you're a parent, when you go to like watch your kids play sports, for example, and like you're watching them play rugby, but you're not really watching the whole team. Your eyes are locked right on that, that kid. they look at you just as much, and I looked at my dad just as much. And you look at the problems in their life and things that that you would like to change in the world, so that you could, as much as like we want our children, and I don't have kids, but I understand that a parent wants their kids to be happy. It's the same for kids; they really want their parents to be happy as well, and so. Quite often, that can be the reason behind why they choose certain career paths, as it certainly was with myself. We'll finish with a quote from Mr. Steve Jobs. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation that is to come. With that, guys, I really hope you found that session useful. I think storytelling is one of the most underrated areas in marketing today. And if you look at the best marketers and look at the campaigns that do really well, even on TV ads and things like that, quite often they use storytelling. So think about how you can apply that to your business. I think you'll get a lot of value out of it. And I'll see you next week on Monday Night Live. If you have any requests for things that you would like me to cover in the content next week, please do drop them into the comments. I'll be keeping an eye on those. Thanks for watching and have a fantastic week in business.